a couple of months ago now, we came across this fabric shop that was closing. And to be honest with you, it was really rather emotional because on one hand, you had this sweet, sweet owner who I got to talking to who had, spent a lifetime building this place. And on the other hand, they were offering these insane discounts in order to, try to get out some of the stock and make rent the last couple of months. And so here we were just waltzing in and potentially profiting off their misfortune because we could buy these bolts of cloth at some pretty insane discounts. And I got to thinking, so they were pretty picked out already. I got some stuff, but one of the things that they still had was not just one, but 3 bolts of cotton flannel with baby prints. Because I do have friends who, have little ones, and one of the things they always impress upon us is you can never have too many cloths. There's always something you need it for. And thanks to one of my patrons, Sally, for suggesting this, because I wasn't quite sure where the best place to send it would be, but they suggested emergency shelters for mother and children. So I have tried to find a couple of those. They obviously have secret addresses, but I'm sending them some emails and I hope we're gonna get back from them while we are making these cloths this week. So let's make some cloths. The flannel that I found is quite narrow, only 90 centimeters or about 35 inches wide. I'm thinking we can do a combination of large cloths at full width square and smaller cloths at half the width. So that would make 4 small cloths for each length of a big one. And honestly, even with these exceedingly simple shapes, this is so illustrative of how I like to work. Letting the project be shaped by the materials rather than trying to force the materials to fit the project. But also, it is just really, really satisfying to cut a project with no waste. And quite honestly, this is as much as I am able to cut today. My hands are tired. But if you have never sewn before and you want to give a gift to someone who is expecting, may I suggest cloths? Because they're just rectangles. They don't have to be perfectly even all the way around. Even an uneven rectangle will still wipe a mess just as well as a square one. And everyone gives clothes, but you need a lot of these, so get you some flannel and make some squares. For the corners, we can get nice symmetrical edges by folding the corner in first and then each side. This does also add to the bulk, so you could snip a part of the corner off to help with that, but I know my Freya can handle it. Is this the most #aesthetic fabric in the world? No, I cannot say I think so. But it is a nice soft flannel. It seemed like such an awful waste to not try to find some use for it. Also, and I hope this goes without saying, but I'm going to remind us all anyway. Just because this particular flannel made my brain go, yes, baby cloths, much useful. That does not mean you can't make anything else. A few years back, I found a flannel bedsheet secondhand and turned them into everyday napkins / general kitchen mess rescue service. And let me tell you, they are so useful. We use them every day all around the house. 11 out of 10 recommend. So much easier not to run out of napkins and paper towels when you can just chuck them in the washing machine and have them ready to go again in no time. It should be no surprise what comes next. Once our new friends are all pinned and cat-furred and ready to go, Freya comes to our rescue and stitching commences. Prepare to use a lot of sewing thread. And I mean a lot of sewing thread. Even though this is just microscale, not even close to mass production, I do not tie a knot at the end of every cloth. But I do make sure to stitch at least a couple of inches beyond our starting point before starting on the next one, so that they will not unravel in the hands of our recipients. I will be honest with you though, I didn't even manage to cut up all the flannel this first time around, and pinning and stitching all of these up, which isn't even all that many, still took me so much longer than anticipated. Even easy, straightforward seams will take a while when there are many of them. Well, that took quite a bit longer and spent quite a bit more sewing thread than I had anticipated. We'll need to stock back up on some white, but all of that is of no consequence because we have heard back from one of the organizations that I contacted. And they are an organization that helps mothers of very young children and expectant mothers. They have a live-in facility, nurses, doctors, and they help people who are struggling with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, those sorts of issues, and they sort of help them, prepare them for this new, scary, exciting adventure that it is to be a mother and taking care of another human being. And to be honest, I was really happy that they were one of the organizations that emailed back and said, we are tentatively interested. Thank you for thinking about us. I'll forward your email to some of the centers that we have around the country and see what they say. But I was really happy to hear from them. I hope that some of the centers will say yes and we can pack up a small box and hopefully make someone have a little bit better of a day than they were having to begin with. But for now, fingers crossed while I turn to editing that the last clip will be good news and off to the post office. Good morning, editing Kristine, coming to you from the very slippery, wintry, muddy times in Norway, and just giving you a little update that I did indeed hear back from one of the treatment centers for the organization that I talked about previously, and they were very happy to receive some cloths for their users, and so we are off to the mail office to get that sent off to them, and that's going to be that for this time. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you do something nice for yourself this week. Bye!